What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Lukewarm Podcast with me, your host, Shane. Today, we're going to talk about something very, very, very hyped at the moment. I mean, it's died down in hype just a little bit, but over the Christmas period, everyone's topic of discussion. And yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home. Listen, I'm a big MCU fan, okay? If you guys have been listening to the podcast, you know that I'm a big, 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 big MCU fan. I did an entire episode on just the MCU. But anyway, the reason we're going to talk about this is, let's just say it. I mean, factually, also, it's been one of the biggest movies in quite a long time. It's now one of the highest grossing movies ever. It's overtaken Titanic. I think it's sixth ever in the highest grossing movie lists. But let's be real, it deserves to be where it is. It is one of the best movies I have seen in ages, especially from the MCU. But anyway, let's talk a little bit before the movie starts about the period of time leading up to the movie. Now, let me get this through to you, okay? So, from college time onwards, okay, my friends and I, we've always had this, let's call it a ritual. Let's call it a ritual. We've gone and seen a lot of MCU movies first day first shows, or at best tried to see first day first shows. So because of COVID and everything related to it, obviously we've not been able to do that for quite a while. So having this show movie come out, which by the way I was excited as hell for. Like I was hyped from the first trailer because I knew what was coming. Like I knew, even though they didn't say it, they explicitly kept saying no. I was super excited about it. So yeah, leading up to the week leading up to it, I was just waiting for tickets to go on sale. The moment it went on sale, I picked up the tickets. I just told everyone, listen, this is the show, this is the time, we're going, I'm getting the tickets, done. Got the tickets, and I was just hyped. That's when the hype actually like started to settle in. Like finally it's here. It's time to watch one of the biggest movies of the MCU since the Avengers movie. And let's just say it did not disappoint at all. Like I from the moment the movie started till the moment the end credits ended, it was just hype. It was just hype. It was fan service at its best, hype at its best, hooting, shouting, screaming, electric atmosphere, okay, in the hall. Anyway, so obviously big major spoiler alerts. If you haven't already seen Spider-Man No Way Home, we're going to be discussing the movie today. And if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, what are you doing with your life, man? Like what's going on? What happened? Who hurt you? Go and watch the movie. Just go and watch the movie. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. You will not regret it. Anyway, so we pick up the movie where Far From Home ended, with Mysterio telling everyone who Peter Parker is. Spider-Man, sorry, who Spider-Man is. He's Peter Parker. Reveals Tom Holland's face. Everything. So we pick up from that exact same scene from the credits where J. Jonah Jameson is on his podcast telling the world. And yeah, we pick up from there, and obviously their lives get thrown into turmoil. Everyone's after them for like killing Mysterio, because obviously everyone thought Mysterio was the dude. Um, yeah, so we move on. Everyone's in trouble, and then listen, the fan service and the Easter eggs just started from moment one. Like they just randomly dropped Charlie Cox's Matthew Murdock into the movie, like so casually, man. He just walks up and he's like, yeah, I'm your lawyer. Don't worry, they can't file charges. Happy, get a lawyer. This thing, that thing. Brick comes through window. And he just catches it, and Peter's like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And Charlie Cox is like, "I'm a damn good lawyer." Yo, it's perfect little cameo. Like there's so much that one scene has changed for the MCU. Like basically everything that happened in Daredevil is now canon in the MCU, which is huge. It's actually huge. So yeah, we move on from that, and it starts. This reveal of identity starts to affect not only Peter's life but MJ, Ned. They don't get into college, and a lot of shit goes down. So Peter Parker then turns to Doctor Strange, and he wants him to like make them forget what Mysterio said. And this is one thing that got me. Like Doctor Strange's character was he was just so off. He was just so off it. Like there's this certain standard, a certain level that you expect from Doctor Strange. well, he was everything that wasn't that. Like he wasn't that he was just so chill about it. He was like, yeah, 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 yeah. We'll do the spell. We'll do this. We'll do this. Don't worry about it. I got you. I got you. And so he goes to cast the spell with Peter, and the spell is to make everybody forget who Peter Parker is. And Peter's like, everyone? No, 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 no. I can't have MJ. I can't have Ned. I can't have Aunt May. I can't have Happy forget who I'm. Just it tampers with the spell and messes up the spell, and basically this is where the movie actually begins. Okay, so because of this botched spell, the multiverse, which by the way, the multiverse is now officially real in the MCU, people start coming through. All right, so they this is one thing which I really wish somehow they could have kept under wraps. Like if they had somehow managed to keep under wraps how Octavius and Green Goblin and Lizard and Sandman and Electro were in the movie. Oh, imagine the scenes. Like my friend who we went with, she hadn't seen any of the trailers, so she was completely, her mind was blown. She was like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "What? You don't know?" But yeah, it was fun. They have this big reveal of how they just need to bring all the baddies back, and then Strange will just send him back to their reality. So Peter goes about it. He catches Octavius. Green Goblin shows up, but they get brought back before. Then he uses the help of Ned as well as MJ to get Sandman, Electro back in. Lizard's already trapped by Doctor Strange, and then they do this, and finally Green Goblin, which by the way, Willem Dafoe's acting in this movie was unbelievable. Like the way the man just came in, swept up the role like he had never left. The switches between Norman Osborn and Green Goblin, bro, listen, 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 listen. Man needs to be given credit for that. Like, it was unbelievable. And yeah, so Doctor Strange gets all of them back. Green Goblin still trying to mess with Norman's mind. Norman breaks his helmet, goes to the feast shelter where he sees Spider-Man posted all over. Spidey comes in, and this part of the movie is which is little questionable for me. Okay, so he comes in, he finds Norman just talking to Aunt May, and Peter explains like, yeah, we got to get him back. He's got to go. He's got to go back to his universe. But Aunt May is just like, nah, 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 nah. You gotta help the dude. You gotta help the dude. So yeah, he goes back, and they're all there, and so Strange and Peter have a miscommunication. Strange is like, I'm sending them back. They're all gonna die. It's their fate, and we can't be screwing with fate. And Peter's like, nah, 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 nah. Aunt May said we gotta save them, so we got to save them, man. So they have this big they have this big fight. I would call it a fight. But they have this sequence where Strange traps Peter in the mirror dimension, and he's got this box, okay, which basically you press the button on the box, and everyone gets sent back to their universes. And Peter finally decides he steals the box. He uses maths to trap Strange. He takes his Strange's magic ring, the one he uses to open portals, and he takes the ring. He goes back, traps him there using maths, which was by the way pretty cool. Comes back, explains to Ned and MJ what happened. Gives Ned the I forgot what you call it, man. The ring. I'll just call it the ring, man. The portal opening ring thingy. And gives them the box, and he's like, I'm gonna try and save these guys. If you don't hear from me, just press the damn button, F them off from here. And they're like, cool, 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 cool. And yo, the the fan service and the memes, man. So while he's explaining his plan to everyone, like Osborn's just there, like, I'm something of a scientist myself. I'm just like, oh my god, he said it. He said, listen, he said it. He said it. Yeah, listen, I was like a kid in the candy store during this movie. Like I was shouting my lungs out from start to finish. Like it was just an experience, man. It was his experience. They go about their mission to fix the villains, and yeah, I mean, they go to Happy's apartment. They use Stark Tech to generate shit to fix everyone. The first thing they do is they fix the chip on Doc Ock, uh, which gives him control of the arms. He finally comes to his senses, gives gives Peter back his nanotech that they had stolen from the earlier fight, and then they're working through everyone else's. Electro's power drop. Blizzard doesn't want to be involved because he's just like, nah, I know shit's gonna go down. I ain't a part of this. I just ain't a part of this. And then the switch, the absolute switch, which Peter's spider sense picks up of Norman Osborn. Oh, yo, yo, yo. We have to talk about this again. I know I mentioned, but goddamn, Norman Osborn was brilliant in this movie. Yeah, William Defoe, man, like underrated, man. He was brilliant. So anyway, shit hits the shit hits the ceiling. Electro doesn't want to go. He wants this new power. He takes the arc reactor, f's off. Sandman f's off. Lizard tries to fight with Peter, but bashes his skull in and f's off. Doc Ock gets thrown out the building. He f's off. And Green Goblin's left with Aunt May. First, he and Peter are beating the living shit out of each other. And yeah, so he makes her Peter suffer by, spoiler alert, killing Aunt May. And holy shit, like I knew it was coming. I could make out from the trailer that someone was gonna die, and she was the most what do you call it, she was the biggest possibility of people dying. So that happened, they killed her off, but before she died she says the lines again. I was just sitting there like, she's dying, but she said it, she said it. She says the line of, with great power comes great responsibility, in her own iteration of it, but she said it. And then she dies, and then Peter just gets shot at, he f's off. And at this point it's all over the news. So Ned has seen it, MJ has seen it. No, they haven't heard from Peter. So MJ is just like, fuck it, I'm sending them all. I'm pressing that button, I'm sending them all back. It's over, it's over. Ned is like, no, 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 we can't do that yet. We can't do that yet. And suddenly Ned, they're just talking, and that portal shit starts coming up. And Ned is like, let me see if this works. And he's just like, show me Peter Parker. And opens up a portal, and there in the fucking alleyway is Spider-Man. But obviously it's not Tom Holland Spider-Man. It's Andrew Garfield. And oh shit. Everybody lost it, okay? Everybody in the hall lost it. Rightly so. If you did not shout or hoot when Andrew Garfield came through that portal, pulled off his mask, and he was there, and you did not shout, you need help. You need help. But anyway, there's a fun exchange of using your spidey sense, proving who you are. He sticks up to the ceiling. Ned's Ned's grandma tells him to clean the cobweb, and all that shit happens. And then Ned opens up a second portal, and then enter Toby Maguire again. If you did not shout your lungs out, you need help. But anyway, Peter comes in. Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire have an exchange. They talk about their own universes, where they go to relax, Empire State Building, Washington Monument. And finally, they talk to them, and they're like, we're trying to help Peter because we know it seems like he needs our help, and all that shit. They finally figure out where Tom Holland's Peter Parker is. He's on top of their school. And they go up to confront him. Man's broken. Like, obviously, he's just lost his aunt, who's been like a mother to him since forever. And yeah, then there's this exchange between Toby and Andrew and Tom, and he's just like, nah, I'm done, I'm just pressing the button, I'm sending you guys back, it's your issue, you deal with it, she died for nothing. And then Andrew and Toby tell him their plights and how they've dealt with stuff, or rather not dealt with stuff. How Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, could not deal with Gwen dying, he got more aggressive, he got more angry. How Toby went after the person who killed Uncle Ben, killed him seemingly, but didn't feel any relief. And eventually they all come to this joint point of, with great power. Tom says, you know what she said to me, like before she died, she said, with great power. And then Toby goes, great responsibility. And he's like, how did you know that? And it was a good exchange, because that's their connecting point. Like, all three of them, both the Uncle Bens told Andrew Garfield and Toby, Aunt May told Tom. And yeah, like that's the connecting thing. Then they decide, okay, we're gonna do this. They go down to the lab, they come up with stuff, and there's a good banter between the three. They're trying to get to know each other, see how things work. Ned talks to Toby, and Toby tells him about his best friend, like Harry Osborn, and how he tried to kill Toby, but then he died in his arms. Ned gets freaked out. He's like, "Oh shit, I ain't gonna do that." And then we finally another meme moment, like the closest we're gonna get to the Spider-Man finger pointing memes. Ned's like Peter, and everyone's like Peter, me, him, you, yeah, yo. Yeah, that was epic. And yep, like even now, finally moving into the final sequence, they're ready to have this big culmination of all the Spider-Man and the battle against all the baddies. But they still managed to put this, getting to know each other, helping each other out. Andrew Garfield cracks Toby's back. They talk about they talk about how Toby's webs come from inside his wrists, and how what all people they fought. And this wholesome moment where Andrew's like, shit, I ain't fought nobody cool. I just fought a Russian in a rhino suit. And Toby's like, hey, you're amazing. You're amazing. And I know I'm like overly doing talking about shit, but trust me, all these moments, like, they made me feel so happy and hyped for this movie. Like, fan service at its best. It wasn't shoved in out of nowhere, out of no context. It was just there and just perfectly fit in. And then enter the baddies. They have their plan set up, but obviously they're working together for the first time. Like, it didn't work out. They got in each other's way. Shit, shit hit the ceiling very quickly, and then they all come together. And Tom's like, listen to me. Shut up, shut up. Look at me. I am the captain now. And Tom's just like, just follow me. Use your spidey sense, and let's do this. And then they have this great scene where they swing each other onto the top. They all land Spider-Man scenes. Oh yeah! And yeah, then the final battle happens. A lot of shit goes down. And once they're done curing, they cure the lizard, they cure Electro, they cure a Sandman, and Otto Octavius is there. He's already cured. He didn't go to the bad side. He helped them get Electro done. And Doctor Strange comes back and he's like, "Oh, it's working and shit. Oh, okay." And then Green Goblin comes in. Ho 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 ho! Willem Dafoe. He comes in. He blows up that box which had the spell contained, and shit hits the ceiling after that. Yeah. MJ starts falling down the scaffolding. Tom jumps after her to save her, gets taken out by Green Goblins, and is like falling. Fuck yeah. I don't know what it is with Spider-Man movies and women falling, but it is what it is. And Andrew Garfield is the one who jumps, saves her from falling down, redeems himself from not being able to save Gwen in his own movies, has a moment in which he cries. I swear that one touched me. Okay, hey, touched me in an emotional sense. Okay, it felt good, man, to see man have a redemption arc. And yeah, then it just hell is breaking loose around them. There are ripples in the multiverse, and Green Goblin and Tom Holland are beating the living shit out of each other. And yeah, Tom Holland's like aggressive, overly aggressive, fucks him up, gonna go and stab him with his own glider, and Toby jumps in to stop him. He's like, nah, 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 fam, can't come back from this. You won't be able to come back from this. There's no point. It doesn't. Toby ends up getting stabbed. Spoiler alert: no one dies. No one dies. None of the Spider-Man die. But yeah, he saves him. Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland somehow save, or rather fix Norman as well. And then they have a small moment where they're hugging each other and like, yeah, it worked, it worked. Are you okay? He's like, yeah, I've been stabbed before. But yeah, then Tom realizes that there's no way this is gonna work. Goes up to Strange. He's like, make them forget who I am. It's fine. If you make them forget, will this solve the issue? He's like, yeah, like just do it. Strange's like, are you sure? He's like, just do it. And he comes back down and says his goodbyes to Andrew Garfield and Toby. He's like, I love you guys. I hope we can, stay safe. Hope your universes are back to normal, etc., etc. And then he goes talk to MJ and Ned, and it's another emotional thing. MJ is like, I love you, and he's like, I love you. He's like, nope, don't say it right now. Come find me later on. When you come and find me, tell me. Then we'll work through this together. And I'm like, cool, and he pieces. Then we skip a little bit forward. He's going to the diner where MJ was to, take a paper, read read everything out to her, make her fall in love with him again. And he walks in. Ned's there. MJ's there. They both got into MIT. He's so happy, and he talks to MJ, and then he sees the band-aid on her head, and she's like, do I really want to be in their lives? Am I good enough? Am I just gonna hurt them? And he decides not to tell her. But funny enough, she's wearing the a Black Dahlia necklace, which he gave her, which obviously doesn't mean anything, but it's the MCU, so basically it does mean something. She's at some point, at some level, she knows who or remembers a Peter Parker or a love interest, which I'm sure they'll explore in later movies. But yeah, he F's off, he doesn't tell her. And then we cut to him moving into this new apartment, which looks like the same apartment that Toby lived in Spider-Man. But yeah, and finally he makes his own suit. Finally, the Stark shit is over. Finally, he can move out of the Iron Man shadow, and he's finally his own superhero now. Finally, and yeah, the movie ends with him going out, taking a swing, and yep, that is a finito. But yeah, then obviously it you can't have an MCU movie without having end credit scenes. There were two. There was a mid credits in which obviously the Venom, Tom Hardy's Venom, was zapped over in his post credit scene into the MCU. So he's having a discussion, gets zapped back, but a part of the symbiote somehow remains back in the MCU. So apparently we have a symbiote running rogue in the MCU now, which is great for movies moving forward. And then the final end credit scene was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the trailer. They dropped a trailer in the end credit scene for the first time ever, which was insane. It is looking like an insane movie. Like, I can't wait for it. But that aside, the Spider-Man movie was brilliant. I've gone to see it twice now. I've seen it in the hall twice. The second time, obviously, it was not the same feel. I talked to my friends after. I was like, the only thing I want is to be able to see this movie again for the first time. But obviously, it doesn't work that way. But the second time as well, it was brilliant, man. The scenes, the emotions are still there. It's a perfect movie. Like, trust me, they could not have made a better Spider-Man movie if they tried. And yeah, I mean, the year that we've had with Black Widow being as bad as it was, Shang-Chi, I mean, I know people love it. I liked it too, but I thought the final part of the movie was a bit much. And with the TV shows, again, I like WandaVision, not a fan of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Loki was I to start with, but then it got trashy towards the end, in my opinion. These are all my opinions. What If was decent as well, but it didn't hit as much as I thought it would. And then finally, yo, Hawkeye. Whoever thought, who thought Hawkeye would be the best out of the lot? I didn't, but I loved Hawkeye. But yeah, moving forward into the MCU Phase 4, I didn't think they could do better than the Avengers. It's like I thought they've peaked. Like even the shows were showing that they aren't of the level. The movies weren't as well. But this Spider-Man movie has pulled everything right back. Like I'm locked. I'm locked in. Let me give me more. Like now moving forward into 2022, we've got Multiverse of Madness. Obviously, hyped for that movie. We've got Black Panther 2. I'm not that hyped for it, obviously. Um, Thor, again, not a big fan of the Thor movies, so I'll watch it. I'm obviously going to watch everything. Not a fan. And yeah, I even now I feel so emotionally exhausted just talking about this movie. Like I remember walking out of the hall and I was like, wow, that was the best 2 hours 58 minutes of my life for a long stretch of time. So yeah, if you have not watched the movie, please just go and watch the movie. Firstly, and yeah, secondly, I want to thank you once again for taking time out to watch my podcast. For everyone who watched my first podcast, drop comments. I hope I've addressed some of that shit in this video. But thank you again. In the comments down below, I want to know, who is your favorite Spider-Man? Who do you think is the best Spider-Man? Let me know down in the comments. And yeah, appreciate your time once again. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.